all the breaks are finally going Tennessee's way. After teams like Indiana, Ole Miss, and Alabama lost, well, the Vols, they're sitting pretty. But of course, Vanderbilt still stands in their way. So, how does Tennessee avoid the letdown and rise to the occasion? I'm Paige Dower. This is the Field Pass on Full Disclosure. Each week this season has felt like a must-win for Tennessee, and if they weren't in a position to control their own destiny, well, it felt like their playoff chances just kind of like went with the wind. And that was especially true after their trip to Athens and they lost to the Georgia Bulldogs, marking their second loss on this season. But what was different about that game versus the other big games that they've been in this season that also had a ton of emotion tied to those matchups? You look at their return to Norman, Tennessee took care of Oklahoma. You look at the third Saturday in October, Tennessee took care of Alabama. But why did they look like a shell of themselves against the Georgia Bulldogs? Well, the most notable difference was because of the playoff conversation that really was around that game and kind of what the landscape of college football was in that week specifically. Did Tennessee maybe focus too much on the hypothetical of, oh, a win gets us here, positions us there, and didn't really focus on what it would take to get a win so that those hypotheticals were really a reality? It seemed like after the game, and you heard from players like Miles Kitselman, he would tell you that, yeah, we weren't really focused on the details, didn't really hold ourselves accountable, that it seemed that maybe they did lose that focus that could have led to a win in Athens because they had that fast start that we've been looking for all season, and then we're not the second half team that we were so used to seeing. So how do they avoid the letdown in Athens when they take on Vanderbilt and Nashville? Well, to put it simply, focus on the details. Be prepared and ready for the tight end. And then offense just needs to take what the defense is showing them. Because of all of these playoff implications that still happen, Tennessee is sitting very pretty right now. Of course, we'll learn more later on Tuesday night, but you can't avoid this so-called elephant in the room. Josh Heupel isn't as explicit as maybe some of his players are when it comes to the reality of this week and what's on the line.
We have to be our best on Saturday. You can look at how they've performed throughout the course of the season, how they've played at home, statistically, what they're doing in all three phases. You got to understand you're going to get their best, and their best is really good, and we got to be at our best too.
And after hearing from some of the players and talking to some of the players, it seems that their focus really is one-dimensional. It is laser focused on the opponent at hand, and the fact that this isn't the same old Vanderbilt team that we've seen in years past. They came into the season expected to win 2.5 games, and now they have 6 games, and some over very high-caliber teams like Alabama, and then taking Missouri to double overtime, hanging with Texas, and really giving LSU about all it could handle. So this is a really interesting situation that they're in, where there are a lot of playoff implications on the line, and this is not going to be an easy win for them in Nashville like maybe it has in years past. Dylan Sampson was a bit more explicit about that than his head coach, and he's like, yeah, everyone knows the reality of this game and that there's these playoff implications. But now that we know that and we've addressed it, it's time to get back to the basics.
It just needs to be, even more locked in. Nothing crazy. Just have the level of, attention to detail, attention to competitiveness that we are capable of having, that we've been striving for all season,
But if we rewind just a second to the UTEP game, what I thought was most impressive for Tennessee's defense was their ability to pitch a shutout, which takes such great focus in that week of preparation and then execution through all 4 quarters to not even give up a garbage time kind of score. I mean, we look at maybe just a couple of top 25 teams. Georgia wasn't able to do it against UMass, and then South Carolina wasn't able to do it against Wofford. So it takes a serious and a different level of focus and execution to go and pitch a shutout regardless of the opponent, and maybe more so because of the caliber opponent that Tennessee was facing that weekend. And of course, we know one weekend does not do anything for the next weekend. Again, Loki mentioned at the top, each week is a new season in this league and in any sport really that you play. But what Josh Heupel really liked about it was it highlighted and kind of showed their competitive makeup.
I think the competitive makeup, the physicality that they played with, resetting from play to play, guys making plays, it's just continued growth in what we're doing. There's a lot of things that we can be better at as well as we watch the film today with them.
We'll learn a lot more tonight on how much Tennessee has been able to take advantage of all of the chaos from a week ago. And then, of course, they still need to take care of their own business and beat Vanderbilt on Saturday. I'll be back later tonight as the Lady Vols are finally back in action after, like 10 days off. So I'll have a post-game report on that. Their game's at 7, so it probably will be a lot closer to like 10:30 or so when that gets put up. So definitely subscribe, turn on those notifications so you don't miss out. But thank you all so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, all of the good stuff, and I'll be back in just a few hours later tonight.